How big do you feel you guys, it wasn't necessarily the full complement of players that the Pelicans had, but to kind of punch through a team like that it had some ownage on you, just does that do anything to the psyche of the team?
I don't know. I mean, you would have to ask them because they have a different team and we have a different team. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Maybe. Yeah. But I wasn't thinking about it that way because, again, Valanciunas isn't on the floor, Zion's not on the floor, Brian Hayden's not on the floor. You know, DeJounte Murray's on the floor who wasn't there last year. Alvarado. So
yeah, kind of along those lines too. It's like sometimes when you play your best basketball and not win games. Here you are winning games. Do you feel like you're in a stretch of playing your best basketball in this early season?
We've played the right way more minutes than not, and that's what you like to see. You like to try to keep increasing the minutes that you're playing the right way by embracing all the little things that may not show up in a stat sheet or may not be visual to the naked eye if you can help it. So I like the way we're touching the paint and trying to spray the basketball. We didn't do that against New Orleans in the first half. We had 9 assists. In the second half, we started touching the paint and spraying it, and I think we ended the game with 24 or something like that. It's a big difference. That's 15 assists in one half, and that's more like us, even though we didn't shoot the ball well. You know, defensively, we're doing some little things, especially in our pick and roll game, in our closeouts, that don't show up in any stat sheet, but it's the way we're supposed to defend, and our guys are starting to pick it up now a little bit better. Our transition offensively is getting a little bit better. So all those things that, again, don't show up in the stat sheet that we want to do at a high level for 48 minutes are getting better, and we hope that over time they're there for 46, 47 minutes of the game.
What are some of those details that you're looking for, defensively that you were just talking about?
Just in the pick and roll game, helping with the big, with the big rolling, making sure we stand him up, making sure that our shifts are impactful shifts and not just standing there and swiping at the ball trying to go for a steal, but we're playing a little bit of gamesmanship to try to stop the ball, but also knowing that we got to close to the shooter. And when we close to the shooter, having a stick hand to contest. And then the last thing, going back to the pick and roll, is, if you're the bottom weak side defender, doing your work early, because we may screw up our coverage in the pick and roll. And if we screw up our coverage in the pick and roll, we need somebody being there early to help us cover up the mistake that we made in the pick and roll. So just pulling over, being at the midpoint line when we need to, early, instead of reacting to us screwing up or reacting to them beating us in the pick and roll.
We talk so much about Malik's offense, but his defense really popped on Steve Adams. I'm curious, just from your perspective, last 3 years with him, what have you seen like the areas of growth from him defensively?
The biggest, I think I said this. I'm pretty sure it was year 1, maybe year 2. I'll never forget, we were in Minnesota, and we went from Minnesota to Houston. And I said both Malik and Kevin down. And I told him, I said, you guys have played a combined 2,500 plus minutes. And I asked them, I said, do you know how many charges you have between the two of you guys? And they were like, I said, you guys have 1. And I said, do you remember the charge? And they're like, no. I said, Malik was coming from the weak side to the strong side to help on a drive, and he tripped. And when he tripped, he stood up. He caught himself and stood up and got ran over. I said, that was the one charge. Fast forward, Malik took it to another level. He started getting charges. He started going vertical. Now, Kevin didn't get charges, but he was better with his verticality. Malik took it to a higher level than Kevin by getting charges and also going vertical. And so having a level of physicality off the ball is one of the biggest steps that Malik has improved upon, while also doing your work early. Because if you don't do your work early and have an awareness on the weak side, you're not getting there to take a charge. You're not getting there to go vertical. So that's probably his biggest area. And then, Malik, he is a little longer than what you think. For sure, he is more athletic than what you think. He's quicker than what you think. And so all of that with his intelligence bodes well for him to be a really good defender. It's just a matter of whether or not he wants to or doesn't want to, in my personal opinion.
What have you thought of Kevin doing a lot of the little details? Obviously, the shooting is what it is night to night, but it seems like he's rebounding a lot more and more active.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's why there are times when he may not be shooting well, but we're still gonna ride with him because he does a lot of little things out there, especially on the weak side defensively, being in the right position, making the paint look crowded, all that other stuff. He does a lot of those things that we really, really like, and he's a pretty big guard too.
A random basketball question for you. There's so much talk about the three-point shot, and people have ideas like maybe move the line back or eliminate the corner three. From your perspective, as someone who's been around the game for a long time, where do you think they should go with it? Cool with where it's at? What are your thoughts?
I think where it's at is fine. Maybe in time if players continue to get better, maybe move it back. I don't know, but I like it where it's at now because one of the things, it's entertainment for the fans. And although I love the 80s and 90s basketball where it was 75, 77, not a lot of fans really like that. And so if you're going to go backwards to that type of scoring, it may dissuade people from watching the game. And I mean, our game, I think, is in a pretty good place on both ends of the floor. There are some things that we can clean up, but the three-point line is, in my opinion, not one of them right now.
You guys have the lowest turnover rate over these last 5 games. What do you credit that to, and how crucial has that been?
The guys being locked in, trying to play the right way, because at the end of the day, the ball's in Fox's hands, the ball's in Malik's hands, the ball's in Domus's hands, the ball's in DeMar's hands. And those guys have to figure out a way to make the game not only easy for their teammates, but they got to go get a bucket when they need to get a bucket for us. And if you have that level of responsibility, then your ability to lock in has to be to another level in order for us to be good in that department. Because we can't have those guys, or everybody say, hey, well, they got the ball in their hands a lot, so they're going to, no. If you got the ball in your hands and you're getting paid to have the ball in your hands, then part of making the game easier for your teammates, part of going to get a bucket for yourself, is taking care of the ball too. And I credit those guys for locking in and doing their job, because if they don't, I'm gonna say it.
Cool.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.